How about my Minnesota Timberwolves?
How about them?
I mean, my Wolves.
They turn into everybody's Minnesota Timberwolves.
Just keep on howling. Best team in the NBA playoffs thus far. Ant-Man is a full-fledged superstar. And I agree with Charles Barkley and his sentiment after last night's domination over the Nuggets. That series is over. Yeah. That'll do it. They're up 2-0 on the road, and they're going back to Minneapolis to go ahead and take care of business.
They don't have an answer in Denver. Right? As much as it's about, I think Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, and you kind of look at that roster, the way they're able to score, it's been their defense. I mean, the mixture on Jokic, Jamal Murray's having a hard time. It feels like it's just difficult for Denver to score, which it hasn't been like that. It doesn't feel like all season for the Nuggets. So is this, in your mind, is this a bad matchup?
It's a bad matchup.
For Denver?
Yeah.
Like, do you think if you look at the entire Western Conference when we got into the playoffs, would you have looked at it and said, yeah, I think Minnesota maybe has a shot, but Denver's probably the favorite in part because of Jokic and the way they can do different things. But this is that one team, if they meet, it might be a problem?
Yes. And what's crazy is they're down one big. Like Gobert wasn't even playing.
Right.
And they still won on the road. If you had both them trees up in there. See, the biggest problem they had, one is Murray is fighting through injury. That's one. I mean, and it's, even with that being said, it's still a matchup issue with Towns. He's one of the few that could actually match up well with the Joker. And I think that's the biggest thing is not only does he bring defense to the table and makes the Joker work a lot harder for what it is that he's trying to do in scoring, but he can score. He can score from anywhere on the court. He'll knock down some long balls. So it's definitely a matchup issue. They have a true point in Connolly. He's handling the ball. He facilitates. They have other guys that can score. And you have a bona fide superstar in Anthony, who is, he's on a run right now where it's going to propel him into larger conversations.
When Barkley said last night post-game, he was like, somebody wrote back like, oh, Charles just gave Minneapolis the jinx. And Barkley's like, no. Anthony Edwards is the jinx. Like, he's the jinx for the Denver Nuggets. Like he's on another level right now. Ant Edwards actually spoke post-game last night about the expectation Denver's going to come out swinging in Game 3. Let's take a listen.
They're not the only one that's going to come out punching. I don't give a damn if we go up 3-0 for the Game 4. We're going to come out punching too. So they got to be ready to take our punch, and we'll be ready to take their punch. But, yeah, I don't see no slippage in their games. They just missed shots tonight. They'll be ready to go Game 3, and we will be.
I mean, Denver's got a problem, man.
You're seeing a superstar.
Denver's got a problem.
Like kind of elevate right in front of our eyes. Like it's the rise is taking place. He's a bad boy. Brunson in New York is a bad boy too. They went to work yesterday against the Pacers. But you're just seeing a young group of talented players really apply themselves and assert themselves in a way where you're seeing a definitive changing of the guard. You're going to have to get to know new names, and if you didn't already know them, and the established superpowers, they're going to have to figure it out, because some of these teams, like the Lakers or Boston has their chance this year, but if Minnesota continues to play the way they play and they can stay healthy, and the Celtics, they're not going to have an easy road to get there. Cleveland's going to be a tough matchup for them. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen with this Pacers next series, but whoever comes out of that series, they're going to be a tough series. It could be Minnesota's year. It really could be Minnesota's year to win it.
You're going to make Scott Shapiro so excited saying that.
It could be Minnesota's year. They look really good. They look good. They can score from all angles. They can score from anywhere on the court. They got slashers. They got a superstar, and they got bigs.
Woo!
Yeah.
Was that Scott?
Lorena is on right now. Let me tell you something. I don't know what you got going on, but every day, like bring her every day. Hey, but yeah, I mean I'm pretty excited to see how it unfolds, because this is really like I feel like I'm watching travel ball. Like if you've ever been a part of travel ball, like club or like AAU, it's like super competitive, but it's competitive in a way where it just has like this, it has this pure feeling to it. God bless, like the NBA is not supposed to make you feel like it's amateur time, like amateurism of how guys are competing, but you see guys out there that are hungry. They're going after it aggressively, and you can see the care and the motivation behind what it is that they're doing. And there's some good coaching going on too. I mean, I'm a big basketball guy. I don't really get too far deep into it just because, my career decision, but, knowing it and playing it and being a part of it, like when I played and got to see all these guys on the road and you see how the games go down, like you become like a great spectator of like the games you're in, the games you're not in. Like you don't even leave the arena because you're seeing so much amazing basketball. You're seeing some amazing basketball in this year's playoffs. And
Denver and the way they were acting last night acted like a team who had no answers and knew it. I mean, You've got Jamal Murray, throwing a heat pack at the official. You got,
what the officials didn't see, by the way.
Like he's like flashing a money sign as well too. So there's some talk maybe he'll be suspended for Game 3, but who knows? Mike Malone looked like he was ready to fight an official early, which seemed like I'm trying to get my guys going sort of move. And then after the game, Mike Malone spoke and had a little bit of a red ass for his guys in the locker room.
A loss like this is tough. You feel embarrassed. You feel exposed. So what are you going to do about it? That's my biggest thing. What are you going to do about it? Look yourself in the mirror. Have the courage to look yourself in the mirror. Say, I did not do my job tonight. And be better next game. That's all I can ask of them. It was a very, very quiet locker room. And, you can take that many different ways. I'm taking it as our guys are disappointed in our performance tonight, all the way across the board, from myself all the way down to player number 18. We got outcoached, we got outplayed. They kicked our ass. So, it got away from us. The body language of our guys, is not where I think it needs to be, but, we just got beat up in our building. We got embarrassed in front of our fans.
Yeah, got embarrassed. And I think they probably know that the end is near.
I was going to ask you that, though. VAR, you said it's been good basketball. I think there's been moments of where you're watching like Minnesota. They were playing good basketball last night. It didn't feel that way if you're a Denver fan watching. And one of the things that I notice about a lot of the games in the NBA playoffs is when they get out of hand, like it was like the largest halftime deficit for the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs, I think in franchise history, something like that. It just feels like it's so hard for teams to come back. And I know three-point shooting has a lot to do with it, but you heard Anthony Edwards kind of mention, they just had an off shooting night. The way the game's played now, it gets away from you quick. If you got a team who's hot and you got a team who's not, that deficit's going to be a double-digit deficit in a hurry, and it feels like insurmountable. And the end of games are so difficult to watch. I'm not saying last night's game is the one that I'm going to die on the hill for in talking to the NBA about trying to figure out how they want to finish these games. But, people have talked about a targeted score, making it a little more, easy to watch, digestible. When you look at the end of these games, sometimes it's fouls, it's three-point shooting to try to get back into it. And it feels like it's so tough to watch. That'd be the only thing I'd say throughout the playoffs is every single time you see these games start to get out of hand, it's all right, we're already moving on to the next game. It's the third quarter. Half these teams are moving on, and they're already done with this one because they don't feel like they can come back.
Well, the Lakers, the Lakers debunked that. I mean, they had 20-point leads multiple times and let the other team come back on them. But
they're giving
and there's outliers. But even then, it's just there's oftentimes, man, it's tough.
When I say good basketball, though, when I'm saying it's not so much necessarily how competitive the game is. It's just good basketball. When you're watching it, it just gets. I just been getting that feeling because in some of those games you see on the travel circuit, teams get spanked, but it's good basketball. It just might not be great. It might not have been the most competitive of a game when one of those teams took it on the chin the way that they did. You know, interesting type of bringing up the Lakers and having 20-point leads. It made me wonder about the Denver Nuggets. Did they just have a superiority complex over the Lakers? Because if you really think about it, the way they got manhandled and have been getting manhandled by the Timberwolves, they were kind of getting banged up by the Lakers as well, but found a way to come back.
Almost got in the habit of, we'll catch them, except Minnesota's different.
So are they not,
not
it just kind of makes you feel like, man, like, were they were kind of heading towards, if they played against a serious team, which they ran up against a buzzsaw, would they struggle and would they have a problem as the defending champions? And I think that's kind of being answered now. But you looked at it and you could say the handwriting was on the wall when they played against the Lakers, because the Lakers could have very easily went up 2-0. They could have very easily took 2 games in the first 2 games in that series, and they just didn't do it.
It's good.
It was a competitive 5-game series. It was a really competitive. It was almost like the competitive sweep. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a notch up from the competitive sweep to a competitive 5-game series.
Yeah.
Right.
So but at least it didn't cost anybody their job or anything. So that's good for the Lakers.
Well,
fans.
I mean, it all comes down to coaching, right?
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not about superstars. It's about coaching.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know better than that.